All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the JumpCast. Welcome to episode 56 of the JumpCast. Today we are covering chapter 250, and I am Max, and I am of course joined by my two other hosts.
Hi, I'm Max.
Whoa, I'm Nick. We're never gonna get that down.
Nope.
Um,
It's part of the charm.
it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're covering episode 250, and it's a great week as for all my other Utah enjoyers. So, yeah, I'll turn it over to Nick now so he can do his little summary.
Yeah. Again, I'll try to keep it quick. So we're continuing off from last chapter. It's not a switch back to Hikari or Urame. And it starts off with just a better description on how Yuta's domain works, which is basically it allows him to use any curse technique that he's copied and use as a sure hit effect within the domain. Um, it's randomized between all the swords in there that we've seen from last chapter, and he doesn't even know what the curse technique is until he picks it up. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh yeah, no one else can use the other techniques. It's only Yuta. And then it goes to Yuta using Drew's curse technique, the guy that he wiped out in one hit back in Sendai, the one that kind of like ended the deadlock. So we see him summon Shikigami that start attacking Sukuna. It's just a full-on 3-on-1. Like Yuji's landing hits, Rika's trying to get a good hit in. Um, the and Sukuna's just commenting on everything and analyzing it, pointing out that Gojo whittled him down so that he can't use his domain, and that his reverse curse technique is also weakened. What else? He's also saying that he can't fire off the slash that cuts the world. Um, he's also pointing out that a sick panel or panels of Rika throwing Yuji at Sukuna as he grapples onto him and starts hitting him, which is that Yuji is using the same soul damaging attacks that he used against Mahito, basically saying that there's a barrier between Sukuna and Megami's soul that was created from when Sukuna did the bath to just kind of like sink Megami's soul down and keep it asleep. And so then Yuji's trying to break down that barrier to get them closer to each other and wake up Megami inside his body. Um, and then gonna eliminate Sukuna with the Jacob's ladder with Angel's technique. Um, we just keep on seeing the 3v1. Sukuna lands a good hit on Yuji and Yuta, excuse me. Um, they um, they start healing from it. Sukuna points out that he needs to touch them in order to deal a killing blow, akin it to like when he fought what's his name? Ishiguro? I think that's his name. The guy that
Yeah.
does Granite Blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also points out that Jujutsu High's defenses are a lot better than what they were before, as he's kept on complimenting them, and he asks them like, "What did you guys do in a month to get this drawn?" And then Yuji says it was all hard work and perseverance, and Yuta says that, "Oh, we cheated." Not giving any more context to that, they kind of like cut each other off, and it's a little awkward. Um, Yuta then points out that it's all thanks to Gojo that they're still alive right now. That if he didn't whittle them down, everyone would be dead. And then Yuji also points out like, I'm terrified to see what happens if we don't finish off Sukuna in this domain. Um, so then after that, we see that Yuta copied Charles's technique, which is like to see like a couple seconds into the future. And basically, the chapter cuts off with Sukuna grabbing Yuta's sword and Yuta revealing that he copied Sukuna's curse technique as well, and is cleaving him. So yeah, that's the chapter summary. What did you guys think?
Bro,
I loved it.
this chapter went
It was a really good chapter.
crazy.
Yeah, it's I love how much information we got this chapter. I love these like jam-packed, like it was both filled with action and with a lot of information
Mm-hmm.
on what's going
It,
on.
it didn't feel like one of those like info dump like yap says chapters we've been getting in the past. Like anytime we had Kenjaku recently, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, just kill Takaba or die already. Like, come on, dude. But no, this one's great because we saw when Sukuna fought Gojo how like I mean it was kind of from the outside, but how like analytical of a fighter both of them were. Um, and I I know Yuta is a smart fighter and stuff, but like I did not expect him to be like this smart and this well planned out with his fight. And it's great. I think it's great that we're getting it from like kind of narrated from the narrator's perspective, but also Sukuna. Because I feel like during the Gojo Sukuna fight, we didn't really get like either one of them's perspective during the fight, and I felt like it was a great fight. Don't get me wrong, but like I felt like it's kind of lacking that. Like I wanted to see what was going through both of their heads, but now we get that kind of perspective, and it's kind of nice.
Wait, sorry, repeat that. Which people?
So when Gojo and Sukuna fought, I don't remember there being like in the head of someone.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and now we're
There are
getting that
very
with
few
you.
moments, but like
Yeah, but like the entire fight, is filled like it's from Sukuna's perspective. And dude, it's great, great.
Yeah.
It is really nice to be able to see things from his perspective because we rarely get to see inside of his head.
Yeah. I like the turnaround, like when Gojo was fighting Sukuna, like Sukuna with Megami's body was like pulling that 3-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing the reverse with Rika, Yuta, and Yuji. It's really fun, and I love the art is what really stood out in this chapter for me, especially with just the amount of attacks that everyone was throwing, and specifically the blank eyes
Mm-hmm.
from both Yuji and Yuta, just like full in, just like okay, it's time to fight. We can't think right now. Um, I love that. I love that. Again, just because of how strong Sukuna is, like he's still handling it okay, but is still taking damage and has time to think on like, okay, what am I gonna do? There's like four different things being thrown at me right now. How am I gonna handle this?
Mm-hmm. They really are just
Uh,
jumping him.
for
Yeah, dude,
real.
Jump
This is
Kaisen's
like the
back.
epitome of Jump Kaisen.
Jump
Yep.
Kaisen. Sukuna getting
Um,
jumped.
yeah. The I'm trying to think of what else. Um, I love that they pointed out that they also copied Charles's technique.
Mm-hmm.
Um, though the one thing that makes me sad is that Sukuna says that Yuta can't use Limitless, which like destroyed my theory for the longest time that you could use Limitless, but just like not to the same extent as Gojo could. So
Mm-hmm.
that brings a tear to my eye.
Which makes sense, but oh well.
Yeah, uh, that it just annoyed me a little bit, but
Mm-hmm. I think also because I feel like Gege is doing that because they hate Gojo so much. So it's just
only he
like,
can use these broken ass abilities.
yeah, and
Shut up.
he's finally dead.
Yeah. Like every time he wrote Gojo's name in this chapter, he's just like "Ooh,"
Mm-hmm.
he's just like dry heaving.
I really do wonder if
Uh,
that was, I don't know. We can debate that later, but I feel like, or this later, just the thought of Gege killing off Gojo, I feel like was because he just couldn't take it anymore. Like he didn't want people to constantly be theorizing about, oh, when's Gojo going to be saved? Are they going to save Gojo? Are they going to be able to make it so that Gojo can fix everything? And then he was just like, no, he's
he
dead.
could.
Let's let the actual characters do their job.
No, it could be.
I this is just a sidetrack, but one of my favorite panels is it's on the end of page 8. where like Yuji is grappled onto Sukuna, and Sukuna's just like, you know what? Fuck it. He turns his hand around and grabs him, like, I'm gonna cleave you.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool because you see Yuta, what is it, Yuji sweating bullets. It's like, oh no,
Oh no.
like I can't take another one of these, dude. I already took one.
You said
That
at the end of 8?
yeah,
Yeah,
at the bottom of 8. It really is incredible the amount of detail with like light
yeah.
that Gege is able to pull off in a drawing.
And I mean,
That's
it's got to be. I'm not discounting him as an artist, but that's got to be like some sort of like of our modern technology that's letting him do that. Like some, I don't want to say like AI, but some sort of like software,
I don't think
that's
so.
letting him really.
Yeah, look okay,
Dude,
look a
you
little
can
bit closer. So one thing that really enhances this, let's really dig in deep here. One thing that really enhances this panel is the background. First of all, you're seeing like a bunch of intersections of a bunch of like beams of light, which makes it give it a nice frame.
Mhm.
But when you look closer, the cleave is pure white, and then you see on the edges of Yuji's shirt, it's pure black, and then we get a gray, giving us the illusion of illumination. Same thing with the edges of his hair.
Mhm.
And the background helps you helps trick you more with the lighter spots, like Yuji's I guess hood.
Mhm.
It really is incredible.
in-depth, detailed take,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just so good. And I love that he's just like, oh crap, I I'm the one that's falling behind right now.
Yep.
That like I'm sure that's what he's thinking, like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done this.
Dude, this is where
And
we
then
get
to
like a
pulling up
Toto
to
moment where he's like, Are you really gonna leave him behind?
Mm-hmm.
You really gonna leave yourself behind, dude?"
for real. Um, I the other thing that I like, just because we didn't know the whole thing just yet, but the Yuji doesn't have a technique that can rip Sukuna out of Megami's body. It's just that he can damage his soul.
Mm-hmm.
So we still don't know what Yuji's like proper curse
Mhm.
technique is.
Right. Oh,
Maybe
that's
even
actually a good
has
point.
one.
Wait, what are
I'm
you gonna?
sure that he does actually, but
No, elaborate.
oh, like whether he has a curse technique or not, or
Just that point in general, because that's actually a good point. We've been theorizing up until this I keep saying point up until this point that Yuji has some kind of body swap technique, but does this disprove that? The fact that we're getting that explanation that he's just punching at the edges of the soul
uh,
like Mahito?
no, I don't think so. I think that he does have to have some sort of body swap ability just because of like the that scene with what's his name, Kusakabe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was mainly more making a joke. I mean, they're still just um, what is it? They're hiding what Yuji can do because Yuji may be able to do more than just that. There was the theory that he did that piercing blood during the fight with Higuruma. He has those new gauntlet looking things, or maybe just new arms in general
Mm-hmm.
that are like red and have like the
It's like there's exposed
side piece
muscle
of
and
bone.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So like there's still so many hidden tricks with him. Like right now we're seeing like everything that Yuta can pull out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Yuji is still like a I can't think of a good uh, what is it analogy for Yuji. Yuji is hiding something. And
Mhm.
maybe it's just due to the fact that he thinks it's going to be like a last ditch effort. It's just like, okay, well, fuck it. We're going to do whatever we can. Like if this domain doesn't end outright, just like, all right, body swap. We're going to do anything we can.
Just
But yeah,
desperation.
yeah. Um, but that also could not be true because he's from his inner monologue as well, right there, where it's just like, if we don't settle this right now, I'm afraid of what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which just shows that like this is the most prepared they've been for this entire fight. Like this is like this was the actual second plan besides Higuruma. Like Higuruma was definitely like a intermediary,
Mm-hmm.
a body to waste while Yuta handles Kenjaku,
Just had to.
which
Hmm.
also makes me think that, well, what is it? I don't think Yuta's gonna die, but he's also definitely not gonna be the last thing for Sukuna. I'm wondering how Sukuna's gonna get out of this.
His his plot armor technique that he hasn't used since the Hanan era.
Yeah. I am. Yeah, that is the thing here. What's gonna happen next? Genuinely, it's really hard to tell.
I'm still betting that he's just gonna take up all of his time with his curse energy to just like heal that part of his brain and pull out his domain.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's how he wipes out Yuta. And then I'm theorizing that Rika's gonna die,
Right.
especially also because like Rika and Yuji are faring at about the same pace. Like Sukuna managed to be able to like grab Rika's hand, kick her in the face, and then cut it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's gonna be the whole Gojo thing, like you're not able to keep up
Yeah.
and then just like gone.
Buh.
No, it'll be interesting to see how this fight goes because I'm loving it, dude. It's so good.
Do you guys think that this fight will be the last fight in the series?
I think the last major
Besides
fight, like the last really
besides
big
Hikari
one.
and Urame, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think everything's gonna end here.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're nearing the end of the series, so
Yeah, we got to get that flashback, and then we got to see where Maki is.
true. I
Because
forgot.
maybe with like Yuji, they're just trying to whittle down Sukuna, like his soul enough that the soul splitting katana, like just to make sure the soul splitting katana will actually split the soul
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully give them back Megami. But
That would
who
also
knows?
be really smart. Like she could be hiding. She's
Mm-hmm.
just like standing outside of the domain, like, okay, when do I go in? She like peeks her head through before she enters for the conditions of it. It's like, okay, they're still manhandling it. Just pulls
Yeah.
her head back out.
Like
Uh,
maybe what their plan is, as soon as it seems like Sukuna starts getting the upper hand, that's when they
Tag out.
intervene. Yeah.
the the main thing that I think that Maki's gonna do, um, if she does anything in this fight, I think that she may pull up more with Urame. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is that she's gonna cut off Sukuna's extra arms,
Ah.
and he won't be able to reheal them because of the soul split mechanic. It's like, oh shit. Like
Because
do
I'm
that and
pretty
then
yeah.
maybe stab out two of Sukuna's eyes.
Oh yeah, because yeah, Max, I mentioned it to Nick before we were recording. Did you notice that Sukuna the whole time his bottom set of hands is doing the hand sign for Hollow Wicker Basket?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a really big thing here.
yeah, maybe their goal is to cut the hands off, or then cut the hands off, or just maybe Yuji will straight up just grapple and try and pull the hands apart.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get that moment that Yuta can hit a Jacob's ladder or whatever.
That could be a really cool thing right before the domain happens. Is like I'm imagining it as like Rika's grabbing one arm and Yuji's grabbing the others. They're trying to pull it apart
Mm-hmm.
while Yuji's like in the middle about to stab him, and then like again, because he's gonna pull out the domain, like he'll just release both of his arms, and the other two are gonna make the hand sign and
Yeah, and
just fuck
it'll
with
be
all of
like when they're holding um Thanos down in what is it?
them. Yeah,
Infinity
Infinity
War.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You killed Gamora. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
except
ruin this
yeah, I was
plan
gonna say
now.
except you don't
Bonk,
have Chris
bonk,
Pratt to
bonk.
screw it up.
Yeah.
So
Rip. Sorry for whoever I spoiled that movie for, although it's like the most popular movie of all time.
If you
Um,
haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
you're behind on the pop culture of the current era, and we just educated you, and you should be thanking us.
Um, I I want to point out another panel that I really liked, which is on the bottom right of page 16, with like Yuta having precognition now, like how he like swipes back and just hits Sukuna in the face.
Wait, which page?
Like page 16, bottom right, when he said like I fulfilled the conditions for the ink. And so he ducks down, jumps back up, and just whacks him in the face with the sword.
Mm.
Yep.
That just makes me happy. Then I'm trying to think what else. What do you guys think is gonna happen next chapter?
Bro, I want us to cut over so bad.
You want to see Hikari versus Arame?
Yes, because I know this fight is like the big important one, but at the same time, I also want to see what everyone else is up to. And I feel like, from a story perspective, this would be a great cliffhanger to leave us off at for like 4 weeks.
All right, Nick, what are
I
you
can stay
thinking?
with this for a month.
Yeah.
What do I think?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
I think that we're not gonna get a cutaway until Sukuna actually has the upper hand in some way.
Okay.
Like I could be wrong, and then it will cut to Arame versus Hikari, but um, it I just don't know how that fight will go because I'll be honest, I hate Arame's curse technique. I think it's boring. Um,
Ice.
and uh, uh, it just won't hand. What's my best way to put it? It won't hold a candle to like Hikari versus Kashimo, as like so. I don't really care about it. Like I know that she's gonna lose. Like that's just straight up how it's gonna go. So I don't care on how it happens.
You just
Um,
wanted to lose.
yeah. And I'm sure that the panels are gonna look sick. If anything, like it is gonna be that Maki shows up. Like what is it? Hikari and Arame are fighting. Um, from what it looked like from when we cut off from there, it looked like she was about to pull out a domain or something like that. So like she pulls that out. Hikari early has to cancel the gamble, and so then they're like in a tug of war for the domain. Um, and I know that a bunch of people think that Hikari has a really strong domain because there's no sure hit effect, but there is one. Um, so I could actually see it that like we see an actual good domain clash because we've never properly seen one, besides like kind of Sukuna versus Gojo.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're just gonna be sitting in that time, and then like so Hikari's gonna be gambling, while also having to deal with like all the icy conditions, and then like right before then, Maki's gonna show up and just like swipe at Arame, just cut her in half, give her the good old Gojo over treatment.
Did you just say
So
Gojo over?
yeah, cut the little nice cut in half.
Oh, that's
Have a
funny.
top and a bottom.
That's really funny.
Um, but yeah, that's what I think will happen next chapter because that's the only way that I'll really like the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Bryn, what do you think?
So I think we're gonna get a little bit more of like a little fight between Sukuna and Yuta next chapter. And a big focus in it is Sukuna's gonna get angry and he's gonna be able to pull out his domain. Um, but as he's pulling out his domain, that's when we get Hikari come back in because Hikari's domain is probably not probably is one of the only things in like a push and pull domain battle that could withstand um uh Sukuna just because his is main, and then or we just get Hikari jumping into the domain, activating the push and pull starts, like the domain clash starts, and then that's the end of the chapter, and then we go to Arame and Hikari's fight or something.
Yeah,
I can see
solid.
that.
I had that way better thought out in my head, and then I butchered it.
No, no, no.
I talk about, damn.
Because there was also like a fake chapter leak that was only like written out
Yeah.
the fan fiction that like Hikari jumped in because Sukuna pulled out his domain and there's like the tug of war, which
Yeah. That's why I kind of base off, but I do like that idea. I think it would be really nice to see because I think, of course, Yuta's not gonna be able to use this technique in his domain for a bit. That'll be down. Maybe this is when we see, or we saw that hey, Sukuna is scarred. I think is what the term Gojo used onto Yuji at this point. Um, Sukuna tries to bring out Malevolent Shrine, and Yuta, or not Yuta, Yuji brings out not a as powerful, but like a more dumbed down version of it, to kind of counter the domain for a second, and then they can go back to fighting without domains or something.
Mm-hmm.
um another thing that I like the thought of as well as that Prudent, I don't know if you remember this part of My Hero when they're fighting like Shigaraki on that island
Mhm.
when Deku comes in. Do you remember that?
Yes, when
Because they have that
when he
stupid
finally
moment
gets
with
there.
yeah, like with
Yeah.
Lemillion showing his butt. I think that that is going to be uh, a sort of moment where I'm gonna think that like Yuta is out of the fight and like Yuji is pulled back for some reason. I don't think he's gonna die just yet, but Hikari is gonna like put himself into the jackpot phase and just running up on uh Sukuna in his domain and just like start boxing with him because he can
Mhm.
heal faster than the damage can be dealt.
It's like all the memes of like when people were first thinking that like Sukuna would fight Akari, and it's like Sukuna getting annoyed after Akari hits his like fourth jackpot and survives a cleave or something. I don't know if people
Yeah,
remember though. Yeah, I would love for something that would be a good way. Yeah.
I want to see him as like be more of like a an intermediary, like I'm holding you off until we can get someone that can actually kill you right now, or like find a way that like he's gonna just like keep on hitting Sukuna until he has to turn off his domain.
Mm.
Hmm.
Like the same situation that Gojo had, where he's just like, okay, I'm gonna just wall up this guy until he stops.
Schmack.
Schmack. But yeah,
Yeah, that's great. I
Cool.
guess.
I know.
Yeah. Sweet.
Is there anything else we want to cover? I think this is a good
I think that's
stopping
it.
point.
Just a lot of action, a little yapping chapter.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So much happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, thank you so much for listening to episode 56 of the JumpCast and joining us this week. We hope to see you again next week. And yeah, let us know what you guys think. If you think our predictions are just total bullcrap and they don't need to be real and you guys are way better, let us know. So yeah. Thanks so much for
Yeah.
listening. Everyone have a great one and a great week, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
See ya.